afternoon, and I know it's around midday or earlier than midday for Nancy, who's my guest this evening. So my guest is Nancy Pickard, and she's all the way in San Francisco in the US. So good morning to you, Nancy. Say hello before we
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great.
I love Cape Town, by the way.
Have you been?
I have.
Yes.
With the monkeys all over the cars, and I'm hiking and they're stealing food and it's amazing. Yeah.
Yes, my daughter just had an incident with them because she was also up in the mountains on the weekend, and she came home like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the monkeys.
Oh, really? It's so cool. I mean, we don't have monkeys in our streets, so
we really don't have them in our suburb, but if you go out into the mountain, obviously.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you, Nancy, for making the time to be with me and to talk about your work, which I find to be very inspiring. You are such an inspirational woman. You know, reading your CV, one can't help but be inspired by where you've been and what you are currently doing. So Nancy is an author of the book Bigger, Better, Braver, and the book is quite highly acclaimed from what I have seen, nominated Best Nonfiction International Book Review, and also you won first place in the Chanticleer Book Review. You can tell us all about the book a bit later. But Nancy is also a transformational and mindset coach, which is something that I am very, very excited about. So Nancy, let's start by you telling us where it all started, or before it started. Where are you coming from? Who's Nancy? And and how did you get to where you are now?
Okay, well, I'd love to share that. So I really had a beautiful childhood. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, which is just very low key, down to earth. I was the youngest of 3 children. My dad just died 2 years ago. My parents had been married over 70 years at that time. So I actually had a great childhood. Married the love of my life, was married 26 years, and then he wanted out. And I had 2 sons, that one had just gone to college, one was still in high school. It really knocked my world and knocked me off my feet. And I did not have the tools that I have today. So I was unprepared. I was the victim in my story. I couldn't even imagine how I could have co-created any of it. And it took me many years, not that I didn't go on with my life and date and do all of those things, but I stayed the victim in my story, and I stayed very other referenced, meaning if he no longer wanted me, then there had to be something wrong with me, and I saw myself through his eyes. So even when other people would say to me, oh, you're so amazing and you're this and you're that, because he no longer wanted me, I could never see that.
Yeah.
I couldn't feel it inside of me. And there are many switches and changes around all of this, but the biggest one was to learn to love and trust myself, which is no easy feat. So I have really compassion for other people who aren't there yet.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I do help people do. And it's you have to learn to stay in alignment with the things that you tell yourself you're going to do, so that you learn to rebuild your trust in yourself and to honor and respect yourself. And because if you don't honor and respect yourself, and you don't make your needs a priority, that's what you exude out, and that's what you mirror to other people. And so nobody else can do that either. So that was
what you attract.
the biggest lesson.
Yeah. It's the story of most women. I mean, I'm nodding because I've heard this before. We all do it at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
Where you take rejection so badly that it's just, to you, it's a reflection of your worth, if you understand what I'm saying. So if somebody rejects you, it's like, oh, I'm not good enough. So no matter how much people say, oh, you're beautiful, oh, you are talented, oh, you this and that, the fact that there's one person that you gave your all to has rejected you, in your eyes, it makes you feel less than. So
Exactly.
that's why I'm nodding, because it's a familiar story. I've heard the story, I've lived it at some point in my life. I think most women have. And thanks for sharing that, Nancy. And so now you spend your life helping other people to rebuild. You are a transformational coach. You are also a mindset coach, right? So tell me a bit more about that. I know you also help with, you know, helping people set boundaries. when I read this, I was like, oh God, I do need help. Sometimes I feel
I need that.
sometimes I
We
feel
all
like I
do.
need help
We
setting
all do.
boundaries.
We all do. Yes, we all do. So actually, I'm an integrative life coach, and I'm a shadow coach, which means that it doesn't matter what somebody comes to me for, whether they want in a relationship or out of a relationship, or they're just not happy with their life, or they need healthier boundaries, or they've got a broken heart, or they want a new career and they're afraid to get out, or they're in their 30s and they think life is happening all around them, but not to them.
Yeah.
They don't have any passion. They don't have a partner or a family, and they, it doesn't matter why somebody comes to me. It all comes down to uncovering the shadow beliefs, the beliefs formed under the first 10 years of life that are keeping people stuck, playing small. And the reason why I mentioned that I had this really great childhood is that most people don't actually have really great childhoods, and they grow up feeling unworthy. Yeah. I'm not enough. I'm broken. I need to stay silent so nobody will know I'm stupid, or I need to control everything so I can be safe. Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. It all funnels down at the end to I'm not good enough. And so you get there one way or the other. I did not get there from my childhood. I was brought up that I could do anything. I was the baby. I was the special youngest. I know my mother loved me to death. I could do anything. She empowered me. She made me believe that. And so I felt special. Well, special is just the other end of the spectrum of unworthy. Right. And so the moment you get knocked off your special platform, then you too are unworthy. Wow. Because if you're not special, you must be unworthy. So we all get down there one way or the other. We either get knocked down later in life, or our childhood made us believe that we were unworthy from a very early age. And then whatever that belief is, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. It's part of your operating system, and you attract people and situations into your life that fight for that limiting belief. Like, if I'm unworthy, then I only attract unworthy people, or I only attract people into my life who make me feel unworthy, so that I can say, see? Yeah, it's true. I am unworthy, or my voice doesn't matter, or my opinions don't matter. All of the things that deep down we think about ourselves, our wounded child thinks, is what we play out. I help my clients uncover those beliefs so that they no longer need to be held by them.
And I so love what you're saying, Nancy, because I think I've always been looking at it from the one side of self-limiting beliefs, obviously stemming from childhood, whether it was a traumatic childhood, terrible child, whatever. I never thought of it as coming from a good, solid foundation where you are, the princess in the family, and then somebody knocks that out one day and suddenly you feel unworthy. But also what I like about that is what it's echoing to me is that it doesn't always have to be negative, because I often say, let's now talk a little bit about me saying to you earlier, I feel like I need help with setting boundaries. Because for me, I was brought up by my grandmother, very close to my grandmother. She was like a mother to me. And pretty much my whole character was built around whatever it is she was trying to build out of me. So one of the things is my grandmother drilled into me that you have to be nice, you have to be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice to people, be good to people. You represent this family. When you walk out on the streets, you represent this, you know, you are, yeah. So, but it kind of damaged me in a way. I'm using the word damage loosely, because then I was nice. Then I was nice to a fault, where I let people walk all over me in the name of being nice.
Oh, I have so many female clients. Love in life means putting other people first. Love in life means taking care of other people's needs. And so you feel guilty being selfish.
Yeah.
But here's the key. Just like there's, I was talking about worthy and special, there's selfish on one end of the spectrum and selfless on the other end. And when you are selfless, you disappear. Your needs aren't even in the room. And that is such an unhealthy way to be. So as a boundary coach, I'm not asking you to become a selfish human being. I'm asking you to move in so that selfish and selfless are more in balance. Life is always about balance. And so the first thing about setting boundaries is to get rid of that belief that being selfish is a negative word. It's not a bad word. It's honoring and respecting yourself. And if you don't learn to honor and respect yourself, nobody else will. If you don't make your needs a priority, nobody else will. So you already have done half the work. You know where it came from. It came from your grandmother telling you this is what you needed to do. This is how you needed to go out in the life. And this is what made you a good girl. And it helped keep you safe as a young child. No doubt about it. These beliefs are there to keep us safe. However, they stop keeping us safe as an adult. They no longer are keeping you safe. And so you can't set healthy boundaries until you get to a place where you uncover the disempowering belief underneath the boundaries that you can't set, right? So that's the first work. The work, you've already started it. So now you have to recognize that it is safe for you to make yourself a priority. It's actually needed for you to make yourself a priority. And I will tell you, like even in my divorce, even in my marriage, I loved my husband so much. I took care of him. He was my priority. That becomes boring. Like, yes, you like somebody to always take care of you, but there's like no push and pull. There's no, he literally said to me, I want to love somebody someday as much as you love me.
Wow.
I mean, that's a crazy statement. But, and at the time I thought, how could you ever want anything more than that? But now I realize that I actually became invisible by loving him and taking care of him so much and not making myself a priority.
That it even stopped being challenging for him.
Yes, I stand in my power as a woman. I always make myself a priority. And that doesn't mean that I don't take care of my family and my partners. Trust me, I'm an amazing grandmother, mother, partner, all of those things. But it's because I have a healthy ability to make myself a priority. It's like getting on an airplane and knowing that you're going to put your oxygen mask on first, so you can then put on the mask for somebody else.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have guilt about setting boundaries until they actually start to work with a boundary coach. And then they see, first of all, setting boundaries starts with yourself. All right. It starts with, where are you not keeping your word?
Yes.
Where are you not honoring and respecting your needs? So what are the boundaries you need to set around your time, around your energy, around your money? Like you start with your own, around your health and wellness. That's where boundaries coaching starts with. But then I help you with a script, with grace and ease, how to set boundaries with the people in your life, how to ask for what you want by not making it about them, but making it about you. For example, I feel, that's the sentence you start with, I feel disrespected when you show up late. Would you be willing to show up on time or to call me if you're going to be late? You kind of made it all about you. Yes, the person's doing the thing, but you're saying how it affects you. I feel this way when you do this. Would you be willing to do that? Lots of times they're like, oh, yeah, sure, I'm willing. You know, I didn't know you needed that, because how would anybody know you needed that, Tola? Because you never make your needs you don't speak them. People aren't mind readers.
Wow.
If you're saying this is no longer acceptable for me, because it doesn't matter if it was acceptable yesterday, it's no longer acceptable today. You know, I have I have female clients who their husbands are over drinking and they don't like it and they get angry and the husbands get nasty, and yet they'll say to me, how can I set a boundary? I married him and he drank that way. Like, how can I now say it's not okay? Well, you can do that. You're allowed to have something not work for you anymore. I don't care if it worked for you yesterday. It no longer works for you. And so you can make it about you. I'm not comfortable when you have more than 2 drinks. Are you willing to stop at 2 drinks? And in order to honor and respect myself, if you have more than 2 drinks, I'm going to sleep in the guest room. I mean, if it was me, I'd be saying, I'm going to sleep in the master bedroom, and you'll have to sleep someplace else. That would be me. But if you're too afraid to do that because you already feel guilty that you're setting this boundary with your husband who drinks too much, I'm going to go sleep in the guest room.
Wow.
We won't be sleeping together that night.
As people who marry someone that you know very well cheats, doesn't respect you that way, and then you just have to sit there for 20 odd years of marriage and not do anything.
Put up with
because it. And people also will say, well, she knew when she married him that he was a cheat. And so you're supposed to just accept it. So I like that you can always, say at this point in time, this no longer serves me, is no longer acceptable to me. So it's not like the boundaries that were not set 5 years ago, 10 years ago should remain.
Right. Yeah. You didn't know what you didn't know, right? And I always tell people, you get what you accept.
Yes.
So if you accept bad behavior, trust me, you're going to get bad behavior.
Yeah. Because people, quickly learn that this one, we can walk all over this one.
I can cheat on her and she'll take me back every time.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yes, this is very eye-opening, Nancy. You do individual coaching. Do you also do group coaching or?
I do. So I do one-on-one coaching. And then it's like, so I have my book, Bigger, Better, Braver, Conquer Your Fears, Embrace Your Courage, and Transform Your Life. That book is a step-by-step how to do the work with exercises and meditations and examples from my life and all my clients. That's the least expensive way to work with me.
Okay.
Then I also have an online evergreen course that you buy the book and you buy my course. I think it's like $45 US dollars. And it comes with 11 audio sessions and more exercises and a workbook, so that week by week by week, you can do the work. As a matter of fact, you can do it as quickly or slowly as you want. You own that forever. It's called Evergreen, which means it's always available. But then I take that same Evergreen course and I offer a 12-week online Zoom course.
Okay.
So you buy the book, you get the audios, you get the workbooks, you do the work, and then every week in a group, we have a Zoom call and we go
Okay.
deeper, and I laser coach with the individuals. And so those are all the ways. And in there, you get a little boundary work, you get some self-sabotage work, and then you're working on one specific goal for the 12 weeks so that you can live bigger, better, braver, because that means something different to everybody. It could be some people in the group are trying to get into a relationship. Some people in the group are trying to get out of relationship. Some people want a job. Some people want to leave their job. Some people want to move across the country.
Yeah.
It's whatever bigger, better, braver means to you
Okay.
is what you bring to the group. And then it's really interesting because when you're listening to the other people and their issues and they're getting coached in the group, everybody sees themselves. Like half the people listening right now could say, oh, I too have very leaky boundaries, right? I'm a people pleaser. I'm a conflict avoider.
Yeah.
I'm an overdoer. And basically it all comes down to the beliefs that you have to be perfect to be loved, or you have to please others to be loved, or
Yes.
love in life means putting yourself after your loved ones. That was one of mine. And you can
Others
figure
first
out
and
where they
self
came
last.
from.
That's how we were, brought up. We were told
Yes,
others
especially
first,
women.
self last.
Yeah, especially women.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And then tell me about Clubhouse. You're very active on Clubhouse. I know on Wednesdays you have the Reset for Women. Living bigger, better, braver. Tell us about that. What?
Yeah. So my Wednesday at 2:00 Pacific time is when it is now. I think we've changed the name to Where Are You Stuck? But basically, I have a panel of coaches, and we're there to talk about anything anybody wants to talk about. So people will be in the room, and any issue they have, whether it's boundaries, healing your heart, courage, bigger, better, braver, whatever.
Yeah.
We just we laser coach. So one person can come up and talk about their issue, and 3 or 4 coaches will all give them, our 2 cents on how they can help themselves.
That's great. So I mean that's free coaching. So
and that's free coaching. Yeah.
Just by joining the room. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that in as well. So anything else in terms of business, Nancy, that you do that we haven't covered?
I have a course that's coming out on Gen Connect You and on LinkedIn Learning.
Okay.
It should be out in September. I built the course for them, so I guess I'll eventually get a link. I haven't gotten anything yet. I haven't seen it. We built it like 5 months ago. I'm dying to see it. But it's actually on strategies and tools in the working place for women.
Okay.
And it's all for women. Gen Connect You is only women. And this course is, LinkedIn Learning is not just for women, but this course is. So It's really tools and strategies. And again, it will talk about boundaries in the workplace, how to ask for what you need, how to ask for what you feel you're worth in terms of pay, or how many hours you can work, or getting home for your family, or what you will tolerate and not tolerate in the workplace verbally. Like these are all tools for.
That's another very much needed skill, because the workplace is a different ball game. Yes. I mean, if you can't set boundaries for yourself, family-wise, I mean, I shudder to think how you can do it in the workplace, because
when you're afraid of your paycheck, or you're afraid. Yes, I get it.
But again, because you're the one that speak up, and so you get overlooked. I mean, it's easy to be sidelined, and so because you want to protect your paycheck, I can imagine that oftentimes people will try and be quiet and not try to cause trouble.
Right. If you have this belief that your voice doesn't matter, then you'll go into a business room and you never share your opinion.
Yeah.
And then people think you don't have an opinion. Right. Or if you don't agree, you won't say anything, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it always comes back down to uncovering those beliefs that are keeping you playing small. It's really, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what area in your life it is, that's what's happening.
Yeah, the self-limiting beliefs that we carry with us throughout our lives. I mean, if you haven't been able to unearth those, then that's a lot of work that still needs to be done. And
Has to be done.
all of these things are lifelong learning journeys. Twisting my tongue, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, I feel like you can never get to a point in life where you say, "Oh, I've learned it all." It's like
No, no, never. You know,
uncover
we're
it.
all going to fall, and we're all going to fall. It's
Yeah.
really a matter of how long are we going to stay down?
Exactly.
And are we learning the lessons that we're supposed to learn? So you have to become the observer, not the reactor.
Yes.
So you can say, wow, why is this happening? What is the universe trying to show me?
I
What
was
can
gonna
I learn?
say, I was
How do
gonna
I not be
say,
here again next time? Right?
mindset. It's mindset though, right? Because I mean, for me, it was when I learned I've been learning so many lessons. I've been like, I had my worst dark night of the soul, whatever, in the previous 2 years or whatever. And I've been learning so many lessons. But one lesson that I take with me is when things happen, is to say, what is this trying to teach me? And learning the lesson, because if you don't learn the lesson keeps coming back.
Bigger.
You know, we often joke and say, when God sends you an X, he's trying to see if you are still stupid.
Yeah.
You haven't learned.
Right.
So the X keeps coming back. But yeah, it's to say, what is this here to teach me? And learning those lessons and applying them and moving on to another lesson, because there's always going to be lessons, right?
Always.
And also to know that when things happen, things are happening for you, not to you. Because again, that's another thing, the victim mentality. Oh, why is this happening to me? Instead of saying, oh, this is happening for me. And then learning why it's happening for you. Oh, I love this. We could talk about these things all day, Nancy, but we will have to bring it to a close. Before we do that, you are, of course, I mean, the personal side of things. I'm like, was reading your CV and all of that. You owned a gym at some point in your life. I don't know how active you still are in that area, but I was like, wow, that's quite something. I'm into health and fitness. And I know that you've also climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. How do you do that? And how was that like?
At 61.
My gosh, I want to be you.
I loved it.
61.
I loved it. First of all, I'm still a huge athlete. I work out 7 days a week. I probably shouldn't, but I do. I'm a hiker. I'm a biker. I lift weights. Yeah, it is my soul's dance. Like it's what fuels me. And climbing Kilimanjaro was my gift to myself when I was turning 60. I wanted to do something that was going to prove to me, like, 60 is just a number. You've still got this going on, girlfriend. And that was huge because it was 8 nights and you're out camping, and I flew to Africa alone. And it was definitely an amazing affirmation for me.
And how do you train for that? I mean,
well, I live in Colorado, so I already live in altitude.
Yeah.
And I'm an over exerciser. So this was an excuse to just spend hours a day hiking with huge backpacks, going up 14ers, like really just, skiing and then hiking and weight training and doing all kinds of core work. And I spent 6 months really overtraining because I was in such better shape than anybody else in that group that was there, that I ended up getting my own guide. And like, they had like 40, Sherpas helping you. And I was not willing to go at their pace of the other people that were in this group because they weren't trained like I was, and they didn't live in altitude. And this was like my big trip. And I wanted to do it in the way that I had trained for it. So
yes.
it took me 2 days to convince them that I don't want to go at their pace. I want to, you've got 50 guides here. Just give me one of them and let him go with me.
Give
and
me
we
the
did.
fittest.
It was great.
Oh my gosh. And is it cold? I mean, you're used to the cold. You live in the Northern Hemisphere.
It was cold at night. We were really lucky. I went in March. I don't know that it matters. I think sometimes they're better than others. We never really got rained on. I know people who have gone and it snowed or rained every single day. And I don't even know how they do it, because if I was wet every single day, I don't know, it would have been horrendous. So I was really lucky. I didn't have that. It snowed. As a matter of fact, the day that we came down, you could see snow later at the top. So we even missed the snow at 19,341 feet. But yeah, the weather was pretty good for us. So you start out with you're all layered up, and the nights were cold. And then the night of the ascent to the top, you start at midnight. So we were really cold. You've got like, I was like this, you have like 10 layers on, and then on the way back down, you're peeling things off. But I had heated socks on and heated gloves on, and, big coats and hats and masks and everything. So.
And do you carry food as well, snacks? What type of food do you carry?
Yeah, you have snacks in your bags and a ton of water. And as you're going up on that last night, your Sherpas are actually taking your bag for you, or putting more and more of their stuff in their bag just on that last night, because climbing from the 15 that you're at to the 19,341 is really difficult, and people are vomiting.
I can't breathe just
sick.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I loved it.
No, wow. That's something. You are my hero.
I recommend it. You're halfway there.
Right. Let me think about that. So when I get to 58, 60. I'll think about it. Anyway, so you're also a mother and a granny. How many grandkids?
I have 4 grandchildren. I have 2 sons, but 4 grandchildren. I have a 7.5-year-old, 2 6-year-olds from both sons, one from each son, and now a 13-month-old.
Oh my word.
And I am forever helping them learn to live bigger, better, braver. And absolutely. That success is in the journey. It's not in the outcome. So I never say, oh, you're so good at that. I'm like, wow, you were so brave to try that. How did it feel to be that brave? Like, I changed the conversation.
Yes.
So that they'll call me, they'll be like, Nana, I was so brave today. I was bigger, better, braver. And I'm like, yes.
Oh, I love that. I mean, when we know better, we can teach our kids better, right?
Yes.
Love that. Oh, thank you so much, Nancy. I really enjoyed this talk. And
I did too.
I will put all the information on the show notes, and you will send me the links that you...
I will.
Yeah. And obviously we will share our social media, but thank you so much. Any last words?
Thank you. Just remember that the juice is in the journey. Right. For all of us.
I love that.
It's not at the end game. The juice is in the journey. Enjoy it.
Yes. Oh, good. Thank you so much, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Everyone, that was Nancy Pickard all the way in San Francisco. Goodbye.